Hi guys, Squirrel here. OMSI2. What can we say about OMSI2? I think it's probably as stable as it's going to be. I'm not saying it's completely a stable game, but it's as stable as it's probably going to get. It is a game that's both good and bad in equal proportion. It's an interesting game. It's a German bus simulator. It was written by a couple of German guys. I think they were students. And it's the second version of OMSI, OMSI2. This one's on Steam. It's not a cheap game. It's hardly ever in a discount. The graphics on it are good and bad, like most things in this game, hit and miss. Some textures are great, some textures are rubbish, quite frankly. The maps are quite detailed. The buses are very detailed and historically accurate. And it's a proper simulation of a bus. And I'm going to take you through a journey in this video. I'm going to select a bus, probably a double-decker, a 90s double-decker. And we're going to drive it around Hamburg. Now, Hamburg doesn't come with OMSI2. Hamburg is a DLC for it, and the DLC of Hamburg costs about as much as OMSI2. So be warned, it's not a cheap game. But there will be a link in the video description to where you can get it quite a bit cheaper than on Steam. So if at the end of the video you think to yourself, you know what, I want to give this a go, you're going to get it probably about 40% less in my link than you are on Steam. Anyway, that said, let's have a look at the game. Now, this is a Hamburg city bus. I'm not going to drive one of those. I'm going to drive a double-decker. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on this icon here. This is the control panel. This is to press the Alt key to bring this up. This one allows you to create a new bus, which is what I'm going to do. And hopefully it won't crash when I do it, because sometimes DirectX does crash. When it does, quite often you'll get an Asian error message, which is hilarious. MAN will take us to the older buses. It does take a little bit of time to load. And the SD range, so I'm going to go with the SD80s. These are quite early ones, the ticket printers. The ticket printers have a machine on them that actually prints the tickets, as opposed to you having to rip the tickets off in order to give it to the passengers. Like I say, it is historically accurate, so this one has the ticket printer on. It makes no difference really until you get into the more detail of the game. But as you can see, it does have all the detail about the bus itself. 10,000 kilogram empty weight, 75 kilometers per hour top speed, and all the rest of it. We are going to choose a different skin because I don't like that one. Let's see if I can find a nice one. Are they all beige? Oh, there you go. That one's not beige. Not even sure what that one is. Stiller. I think that's a beer. Aha! That looks nice. Yes, I like that. Registration. This will appear down here on the registration plate, so I'm going to put Squirrel. Because I can, not because it's historically accurate. So click OK to that. And then it says, where do you want to start? Now, you do need to look at the map a little bit on this one. But we're currently here, which is, as you can see up there, is a place called Hauptbahnhof. That's the city. And we're going to start off in Hauptbahnhof, and we're going to go to Zob, which is the bus station. We'll choose that in a minute. But we're going to start off in Hauptbahnhof itself, at the bus station. So that will place us in a bus. It should place our bus somewhere nearby the bus station, hopefully. There we go. So it spawned it in. The bus station's actually just over there. And as you can see, I mean, it's pretty detailed, isn't it? Look at that. The bus is rolling. Let's put the handbrake on. Just like your truck, when you buy a truck, it spawns it in without a bus station, without the handbrake turned on. Now you do get the police flying past now and again. There is collision physics turned on, which is turned off by default. The AI is, well, it's the AI. There's not many AI that's particularly wonderful. This is no exception. It will crash into you. You will crash into it. But unlike Euro Truck, you don't just get a penalty. You've got to report it to the police, get it sorted out, and repair your bus, and it will knock your schedule to pieces. So be warned about that. F1 will take us inside of the bus. I'm just going to turn Track IR off for a minute. It does support Track IR, but it's more useful to show you the buttons without Track IR. So F1 takes you inside the bus, and you can hold down the right mouse button to zoom in and out like that. You can hold the middle mouse button down and look around like this. So by holding the middle mouse button down and then holding the right mouse button down, you can zoom in. And when you do that, you can see that the controls are quite detailed. All these buttons work. That's the difference between this and Train Simulator, is everything on here works. F2 will take you inside the bus. Now this is particularly interesting because you can actually sit in the back of the bus while the AI drives it, and that's kind of weirdly fun. Taking a bus journey in a virtual game is kind of weird, but it does work. If you press the left and right arrow keys, it kind of takes you through various cameras inside the bus, like that. So you can actually stand by the back door if you want to. There's the steps going up. Be warned about this game, everything is in German. It is a German bus simulator, it's set in Germany, all the signs are in German. Pretty much every error message you're ever going to see will be in German. And also the computers are in German, which makes it particularly fun. But you kind of get used to it after a little bit. F3 will take you outside, and then you can obviously spin around and zoom in and all that good stuff. So, first things first, what do we do? Well, the first thing to generally do is to start the bus up, because as you'll see down here, and this is a complete lie, it says minus 16 Celsius. There's no way this bus is minus 16 Celsius. But the point is, it's not warm, it's not at room temperature, so we need to get some heat in here. In order to do that, we need to start the engine. It's currently, everything is off, we're cold and dark, so if you actually click part of the steering column, it will make the wheel disappear. Click it again to bring it back, and that lets us see the controls a bit better. In fact, we'll get rid of that as well. So what we do is, here's the key, so you hold that down to press it in, turn it to an on position, and then start the electrics. Now, keep your eye on this here. This little lever comes up when the air pressure in the vehicle is low. And you need air pressure to release brakes, to open doors, all that kind of stuff. As the engine fires up, you'll see that go down, that indicator. That means the air pressure's charging up. These analog dials, these analog dials here do work, as you'll see in a second when we start it up. There you go, there's that lever going down. Now looking at that, I hope that moves in a minute, because that's giving me the impression there's no fuel on this bus. Which is slightly worrying. It spawned me a vehicle with no fuel. It's not going to get very far doing this. We'll have to stop for fuel on the way. This is the actual temperature of the engine. Now, if we want heat in here to warm our vehicle up, we're going to need some heat. Luckily enough, this button here, we turn that on, activates a secondary heating mechanism to get the bus up to temperature. Now what we need to do is use the heating controls. We're down here, so we'll bring up the heat from cold to hot. These are the passenger, driver and passenger heating controls. This controls whether it's blowing hot air up or down. This one on the right here brings in air from the outside, recirculates air and blows in cold air without heating. So we're going to put it up here to bring in fresh air and heat it up. And the final thing we need to do is this wheel. Which, as you may have guessed, is the fan control. So that should start to climb soon, and also that should start to climb as well. Once that gets up to about 65, we'll be able to turn this secondary heating off. So I did that so that we could let the engine just fire up, start to warm the bus up. Because if you get passengers on here and it's cold inside your bus, and it's nice and warm outside, they will start to complain a little bit. They're less bothered when it's cold outside, but when it's nice and warm outside, if they get on your bus and it's cold, they're not very happy about it, to be honest. Just the way they are. Now, this here is the cash dispenser. This is the ticketing machine. This is our IBIS system. This is our computer route guidance, if you like. This kind of drives that to tell it where we currently are. Use this to give tickets to the passengers. Use this to give them change. Now, you can turn off the whole passenger ticketing thing, and I recommend you do that when you start the game. So people just get on, they just sort themselves out. Then you can put it on easy mode. When easy mode means they get on, some of them will ask for a ticket. You can press the T key to give them a ticket. Now, it doesn't matter where they're going, it will work it out and give them the right ticket. They'll give you some money. You press Shift T to take it, T to give them a ticket, Control T to give them change. And that's that. So it's kind of a semi-manual process. The final step is to go for advanced ticketing. That's where they get on, tell you where they want to go. You've got to give them the right kind of ticket, and that could be a day ticket, a normal ticket, student ticket. They'll give you some money, you've got to give them the right change, you know. And it's all in Deutschmarks, by the way. So if you actually press this here, you'll see it's all wonderfully in Deutschmarks. So good luck with that if you want to try it. If you're up for a challenge, there's a challenge right there. Right, next thing is to pick a journey, pick a route if you like. Now, it's broken into a number of things. The actual line, and then the route that you're going to take on the line. Yeah? So what you do is you press the Alt key, and that brings back this thing. And this option here, so let's just deal with the top first, because this one is to create a new bus. That's to change to another bus. That's to delete the bus. That's to move the bus in the map. And that last one there is to say, computer, take over this bus. This row here, the first icon, is going to set the actual timetable we're going to work to. The first thing to do is choose the line. I'm going to choose line 109. 109 is going to take me from here all the way to Alstorf, I think it's called. And then we choose the tour. Don't worry too much about the tour, but the important thing is, if we slide this trip meter here, you'll see all these numbers change, and you're probably thinking, what the heck's going on? Focus on the start and the end here, right? Start and the end times. Now, we know currently it's 9:02, so we need to find something that starts after 9:02, right? So that's 8:50, that's gone. The next one is 9:35, but that goes from Alsterdorf to Hauptbahnhof, which is where we currently are. We don't want that. We want the next one along. We want that. Hauptbahnhof Zob, which is the bus station. Zob is German for bus station. I forget what it stands for. Alstersdorf is the city that we're going to go to. That kicks off at 10:10, which means we've got absolutely loads of time. Way too much time, in fact, but we'll advance time in a minute. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to go 109, 66101, right? From Hauptbahnhof Zob to Alsterdorf. Now, when we click OK, it displaces the bus, and you may have noticed here, press the Insert key. It's now given us our timetable. So Hauptbahnhof Zob 10:10, and we're going to go through all these stops, and we're going to end up in Alsterdorf at 10:46. So this is quite literally a 36-minute journey. If we do it, we'll do it in real time, and it'll take us 36 minutes. You need to make these stops within 3 minutes of the scheduled time. If you don't, it'll mark you as late. So what we now need to do is two things. We need to program the computer to tell it that we're going from Hauptbahnhof to Alsterdorf, in other words, the journey that we're taking. And then we need to set the sign on the outside of the bus here, so that the passengers, when they stand at the bus stop, can see that this is the 109 bus, so they know where it's going. Yeah? Two important ingredients. Relatively straightforward to do. The icon next to the one we just picked is this one. This one will set the bus details on the outside. So we put in line 109, if you remember. And our terminus, which is where we're going to, is here, Alsterdorf. So we go 109, Alsterdorf, and what that would do, if we go to the outside of the bus, when we click OK, it sets the destination of the bus. So it's now labelled up 109. On some buses, it'll also say where you're going here. And these do change from bus to bus. Sometimes you'll have digital displays and it will have the actual destination written here. This one's not doing that. It's just saying 109. But that's fine. So we get back inside. The next thing to deal with is this bad boy, the IBIS. Okay? So the IBIS is the onboard journey computer. Think of it that way. And it's all written in German, and you think, what the heck is all this? But there's only need a few buttons, so it's okay. This one here is line. So that's the line we're taking. We click that, and we want line 109, if you remember. So you put in 109, and then you have 2 digits for the designation. That could be N for a night bus, X for a special like school bus or whatever. Anything else you put a 00. So just put 0. Whoops. Line 10900. Yeah, and then press here. Despite the fact it says quit, that's actually enter. Okay, so now you can see it says down there line 109. Yeah, quite straightforward. The next thing is the route. Now the route 1 will generally be from something like Alsterdorf down to here. Route 2 will be from here back to Alsterdorf, and then route 3, 4, whatever will be variations. Yeah, so we click on route, and I reckon this is going to be route 2. So I'm going to guess at route 2. That says Hauptbahnhof, which is where we are. And then if we give it a second, it should then change to our current point, which is here, Hauptbahnhof Zob. So as far as the computer's now concerned, we are starting in Hauptbahnhof Zob, and Hauptbahnhof Zob is down there as the bus station. Okay, so that's where it thinks we are. But I'm going to double check, a bit like we do with the PMDG when we're flying in the aircraft. We're going to check the route Not for discontinuities, but just to make sure it lines up with this. To make sure I've not picked the wrong route. So Hauptbahnhof is where it should start. Yeah, if we go back over here. This and this button here, this is next and previous. If I click next, you can see the next stop is HBF Mankersburg. Again, my German's rubbish. Which is that one, which is fine. If I advance it 2 more, I get to Rathausmarkt, which is the market. Yep, it's looking good so far. So let's just go all the way along and just see Winterhudemarkt. That's another market, which is there. So it all looks good so far. It's all making the right stops. Kalkenstrasse. Yeah, it's good. It's all good. So we'll just flick it back to the start. She's here. Hauptbahnhof Zob. Awesome. That is pretty much it for the computer. You can see the temperature's rising. -12. That is so wrong. Fuel gauge is still low, so I'm worried about that. I think we should find a fuel station, but I actually don't know how to find a fuel station in this game. It's a bit worrying. The next thing to do is... That is the repair icon, by the way. You click that and it will get your vehicle repaired on site, but it will cost you time. If you click that, that's for refueling and washing the bus. And if you click this, that's for reporting to the police, calling the police when you're reporting a crime. Either you've hit something, something's hit you, you've hit a pedestrian, you've got to call the police. If you don't, it will mark it on your personnel file, and that's not a good thing. So down here, we've got this icon here. If you click that, it turns on the, if you like, the sat-nav system. So it says start here, 109, that's where we're starting. 109 HBF, which is the terminus. It's telling us the way to the terminus, which I know is there. So in a minute, we're going to drive down, and that's where the bus terminus is. That's where we're going to kick our journey off. Right? Second icon here will let us change the time. So currently it's 9:08. If I click that, I could make it 9:30, for example. Now that physically advances time, and it advances all the buses in the game and all the journeys they're on. So it moves everything forward, as well as the time of day and where the sun is and all that kind of stuff. This one here controls the weather. If you click that, you can actually change the weather. So if you want to go for rainy, for example, if you want to do your journey in rain, not a problem, you can do that. There you go. It is now raining. Yeah, if you go outside, as you get close to the floor, you can actually hear the rain. If you click on it again, you could go for a storm. So now you get these like fast moving clouds, you get flashes of lightning, it bins it down with rain. You could go for heavy snowfall. And trust me, that is an interesting drive, heavy snowfall. It's very slippy. You take your buses round corners and everything starts to slip and slide. It's quite funny. Freezing wetness is kind of like wet but frozen slidey patches, like ice on the floor. Twilight fog kind of gives you a distant fog effect. You can't see it so well here. Ground fog, you can see it a bit better. There you go. Very, very foggy. I'm going to go with summer-like. We're going to make it look a bit like summer. I think that'd be kind of cool. We're going to enjoy the beautiful scenery. Although twilight fog. No, it's a bit washed out, doesn't it? Yeah, let's go summer-like. Let's have a nice summer's day. We can always do a rainy one in future. This one here is what controls the game controls. So I'm using Logitech G27, which I've got enabled in here. You can use the mouse. I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually a decent mouse steering system. You press the O key and you get a mouse cursor. If you move it forward, it accelerates. You move it back, it decelerates. Left goes left and right goes right. So it's a bit like War Thunder, if you've ever played that. You move a cursor around the screen and the bus kind of follows it. It's also where you turn on track IR. Finally, over here, this gives you the timetable analytics. As we make stops, it will start to build up and it will tell us if we were late or if we got there on time. I'm beginning to wonder whether there might be a fuel station in this city. Let's see if we can spot one by zooming out, if we're lucky. We're at the rail station. Yeah. Can't really see one. It's not signposted Tesco anyway. Supermarket fuel. So hopefully we won't run out of fuel, but you never know. Press the space bar, it resets the camera position to look forward. Okay, right. Now what's the next thing to do? Temperature is coming up, not as quickly as I would like. But I got a feeling the outside temperature is quite low because it's only just, the engine temperature is only just starting to come up. Let's put the wheel back. Alrighty, what we'll do is we'll advance time a bit now. If we have a look on here, we're scheduled to pick up passengers at 10:10, so I'm going to make it 10 AM. Like so. Right, so if we have, we'll put track IR back on now. We'll turn that off. Okay, so if we look to our right, the ticketing machine says 10:10 AM. Hang on a minute, I thought I put 10 o'clock. I meant to put... You cannot turn back time. Oh dear. Okay, so that was a mistake. Because now we can't possibly pick people up on time. So what I'll need to do is I'll change this. Cancel the current timetable. We'll choose 109 again. This time, instead of going for the 10:10, we'll go for the next one. We'll go for the 11:30. Exactly the same route, but it goes from 11:30. So if you have a look in here, it's exactly the same setup, but it goes 11:30 this time. Let's turn track IR off a second. Just check that's okay. Looking good. We shouldn't need to change that. Oh, let's just talk about the buttons briefly before we set off. These are the wipers, yeah? This is the washer. I zoom out. That one's the washer. So that washes the windows. This is the intermittent wiper. That's the continuous, and that's the fast. Schnell. Don't need them today. Let's not worry about them. Reverse, neutral, and the 3 gears. Now, the way the drive system works is if you put it into, if you press the D key, it'll put it on 3. That's the top gear. It's an automatic gearbox. That's the top gear. So it'll go through the gears all the way up to that. If you're going up a steep hill, you may have to drop it down to number 2 or even number 1 if it's very steep. That'll set the limit of the gear it will go to, which is useful for climbing. If you want to go into reverse, you have to go via neutral. So D for drive, N for neutral, R for reverse, or you can click the buttons here. That's essentially how it works. Over here, just behind there, it's on automatic engine transmission braking. Sorry, automatic transmission braking. Which means when you press the brake pedal, it'll also engage the transmission braking. This here, if you turn that on, turns on the direct transmission braking. Which means, if you're going down a hill, you can enable that, and it's effectively the retarder. It's a it's braking without using the actual disc brakes, if you like, and the drums. Now, is there anything else to talk about that's of interest? Not just yet, apart from possibly these here. These are the door controls. So we'll go through this over at the bus station in a minute. But this is the front door split. That's the station brake, as it's called, and that is the when passengers want to get off, you need to flick that switch, and the computer will open the rear doors for you when you enable the station brake. But we'll go through that in a minute, don't worry. Temperature's coming up nicely. Right. Let us move on. It's 11:30 departure, so this time I'm not going to screw up. I'm going to put 11:20. Like that. We'll put the track IR back on. Turn off that display. It's 11:20. We've got 10 minutes. So we'll drive over to the bus station now. Now, as I said, I've got a G27. It's automatic transmission, which means I don't need my H shifter. But I've programmed my H shifter to operate that. Yeah. So when I go into first gear on the stick and second gear, it actually operates the brake, which is kind of cool, I think. So what we'll do is we'll press D. Now watch the third number there. You see that go down? And you can hear the transmission now enabled. We release the brake. Put our foot down. Off we go. The engine sounds in this are fantastically good. So is the chassis moving over the bumps. you'll hear the structure moving. It's very, very good at that. I'm just stopping talking so you can hear it and hear how good it is. I'm going to put the handbrake on, press N for neutral, listen. Yeah? You should always go to neutral when you're going to be stopped for a minute or two because it'll save wear and tear on the actual gearbox. Roughly, we're going to go over there in a minute. That's our pickup point. Yeah, 109, you can see it there. It says Hapt Zob. That's the big bus station. So we're going to go down here and loop round and come back. Stop there and everybody's going to get on. We're going to get there a bit early so that everybody can get on and we can do... I can teach you about the other buttons and stuff that you need to operate. Temperature of the bus is coming up, so by the time we get there, it shouldn't be too bad. Don't know what we're waiting for, to be honest. You do get random events in this. You'll get police cars flying past with the siren. Wow. That's uncanny. Oh, look. Seriously, that was completely unplanned. You can't plan. Oh, look at that! I told you it's good and bad. It's good because it's got ambulances. It's really bad because look at the physics. This game is hilarious. Right, I didn't put the lights on. I'm going to show you the lights in a second. We'll go through some controls. Okay, I've got the indicators mapped as I do in Euro Truck, so if I press the right indicator, you can see that the stick moved. But isn't it good? Look how many people there are. Isn't it really well populated? Like I said, there are elements of this game that are just so well done. There are other ones that are laughable. So I'm going to wait outside of our bus stop because I don't want any other vehicles coming here and nicking our spot. Which does happen, believe it or not. And when you've got collisions turned on, you can't do anything about it. You can't shove them out of the way. Now you can see people have just seen the sign on my bus. Like that family there has gone, oh, that's the bus we want. But this is our stop, so they're going to have to move. Lots of people getting on. Right. I'm actually going to press the station brake, which is that button here. Now, I've not put the actual parking brake on, I've got the station brake on. It does the same thing. I'm going to press neutral. Now, these two buttons I'm going to press. And you'll see, it opens the door.
Moin.
Moin, moin. Moin, moin.
Okay, so he wants a ticket. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off the track IR. I'm going to face him. I'm going to press the T key. Gives him a ticket. Shift T to take his money. Control T gives him change.
Moin.
And that's the easy ticketing system.
Bitte den Fahrschein für den Nahbereich.
Now, she tells you where she's going up here. She wants a one-way ticket to somewhere. Press T. Shift T. Control T. Yeah? You did see it flash up. Now, if you're on the complicated ticketing, you'll have to read that and then decide which ticket to give her. And if you don't give her quickly and change, she'll start complaining. Because that's what they're like. So I'm going to press Shift Y. Shift Y is going to give us some extra information here. You can see the climate bus temperature is 15 degrees, relative humidity 33 degrees. So that, 15 degrees is starting to climb up now. As you can see, which is good. So I'm going to turn that off. That's the secondary heating, which we're up to temperature now. I don't think we need it. I do actually think we're going to have to take some fuel from somewhere. So if we don't see a fuel stop on the way, we're going to have a bit of a problem, I think. So I'm going to press F3. Now F3 lets us take an external view. I want to show you these doors here. So what happens is, that lights up when a passenger presses the button to say I want to get off. At that point you need to activate this switch. Yeah? When you station lock it, it then opens this door. Because the station parking brake was down, it opened the door. Now the difference is, when you press the station parking brake back on, when you turn it off again, so we'll release the brake. I'm just going to pull that down because if I don't, the bus will move when I do this. There we go. When I release this to set off, Yeah? That should, in theory, close. Okay, it doesn't. I don't know why. Hang on. Let's manually close that door. Oh, sorry. I'm being a spanner. That should be up. Yeah? There you go. It just shut on its own then. That should have been up. I had that wrong. I'm not a complete expert at this yet. I've just been practicing for a few hours. So that is now engaged. And that's the station brake. When we're ready to set off, we'll have to close both those doors. And you can see the problem here is that that button is hidden behind that one. Close the doors, release the brake, and off we go. Yeah? So with the brake up, we'll leave the doors open because we're not ready to go yet. It's 11:26. We're due to leave, I believe, at 11:30. Yeah. Depart 11:30. We should arrive at Monkebergst at 11:34. Otherwise known as Christabergst. So I kind of explain what's going on there, but essentially that switch you activate to control the back door, and it will automatically open it when you stop, and when the passenger gets off it will automatically close it. You just worry about the front doors with the manual thing. Now another good reason for not enabling that brake and to use the station brake is because then you can actually press the buttons. But there are hotkeys for these things, and I've got them programmed into my G27 as well for those three, so I'm not going to physically press them. I'm going to use my G27 buttons to do it. We're 3 minutes away from departure. It's getting rather warm in here, so I'm just going to slide that down now. I'll slide that down to here. I'll bring the fan right down. There we go. And this, let me show you the best feature about this game. The absolute best feature about this game. Watch. It's not so much the fact that it's got a window. It's the fact that it's got a window with a slightly squeaky piece of glass. It's just brilliant. I'm going to leave that open because I like a bit of fresh air when I'm driving. Okay, we need to get ready to go. So, Hauptbahnhof is... The next stop is Monkenbergst, whatever it's called. So I'm going to program that in. Okay. So next stop now is... We have to remember to advance this when we stop, basically. What we do is, we stop, we activate the station brake, we open the doors, serve the passengers, click for our next destination, release the station brake, and off we go. In a nutshell, that's what you're going to be doing. I really hope we don't run out of fuel on this video. It's a 30-minute journey, and I swear we're going to run out of fuel. And I don't think we've got time to take on board more fuel at this point. It's 24 degrees in here now, so I think I'm just going to slide that to take on cold air from the outside. How the heck does it get to minus 16 in this bus? That makes no sense. I was just going to have a look if there's any more people turning up. Now, if you go inside, this is the cool thing. Like I said, they all sit there holding an invisible ball, which is kind of weird. But what's cool is you can sit in the bus when it's on its journey, and you can actually look around it as well. Oh, did I put the lights on upstairs? No, let's put the lights on. There you go. So 7, 8, and 9, we'll put those lights on. I'm going to shut the doors now. And we're going to get ready to go. It's 11:29. Track IR is now enabled. Put transmission into drive. And I think I'm going to go while the lights are on green. Yep, 11:29. We set off 30 seconds early. Okay, I think that was somebody complaining that I set off early. I don't know what they said in German, but it didn't sound like, "Squirrel, you're a brilliant driver." It sounded more like, "What's this idiot doing?" So you're going to get a bit of that on this journey, I think.